Welcome to Find Your Tribe podcast. We're broadcasting from beautiful Portland, Oregon. My name is Annie Lavender Weller. I'm a member of the Turtle Mountain Band, the Chippewa Indians, and co-founder of the Leadership Lab, which is a career, academic, and transitional coaching nonprofit. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, author, and International Coaching Federation, ACC certified business coach and consultant. Welcome to my podcast, Find Your Tribe. Hi, welcome again to Find Your Tribe. I'm here with Shawn Price, one of my favorite ladies. She has her own podcast called Chasing 50. Also, she's a vintage decor and clothes collector. She also turned me on to bullet journaling. Let's see, what else about you? You know, you're so amazing and empowering. You really help, you create beauty and creativity, and you're just all that and more, and a bag of chips. And why don't you just tell people what you do? Why don't I just have you just introduce you?
Wow. Well, after that, I like the bag of chips. As long as I'm the really good, delicious, bad-for-you Dorito chips, I can get with that. Not that kettle chip, low-cal type of thing. Those don't taste good with anything.
I agree.
Right? I don't even want kale chips. I want fattening potato chips. That would be me. So thank you for that intro. I am a person that wants everyone to win. I literally was just in the Uber, and the guy was complaining about the 25%. Now, mind you, I don't even think he was 25. I said, first of all, without the 25%, I wouldn't know who you are. You wouldn't even be a part of my life. Mm-hmm. And how horrible would that be? I said, your gateway into a part-time career was 25%. That guy built the entire infrastructure. You showed up, and where could you and your squirrel be if it wasn't for that 25%?
Yeah, this guy had a dead squirrel hanging from his rearview mirror.
Only in Portland.
Only in Portland. So one of the questions I like to ask all the guests is, what does Find Your Tribe mean to you?
Your squad goals, right? Isn't that what the young people are saying? Collecting people that enhance, correct you, keep you balanced, grounded, show you the best of you on the days when you don't know that exist. So we're telling each other to collect those people and hold them dear. And if anyone that's a part of your day-to-day is not supporting your highest self, you've got to walk away. You don't wish any bad on them, but you just have to walk away. So that's what finding tribe means to me, collecting great people in my life that I can also enhance, support, keep grounded, and remind them that they're amazing.
So how do you do that, though? I mean, how do you really – that's a deep dive. How do you do that?
For me, everybody has their skill set when it comes to the human experience. And I'm really been focusing on being really quiet when I'm with people. If I feel like I'm in a moment that I need to discern if it's learning for me, if I'm receiving, or am I giving. And so I listen, and people will tell you a lot. There's a lot of cues in what they do and don't say, and where they take you in conversation. And so based on my experience and what I have to give, I look at my little treasure trove of authentic gifts to give, and I give it right away without any ask. So I encourage people right where we're at in that moment and what they're giving me or what they're willing to share. And if I feel like I need to take that extra time, I'll give my phone number. Here's my phone number. Just give me a call. So I'm a big believer that what you want, you just got to ask for it. You never know who's nearby. I am quick to say, I would love that. My family and friends say, you're always getting stuff from people. People always give you things. Well, the Bible says you have not because you ask not. So people are asking. People need hugs. People need love. People need validation. But at the least of things of the human experience, people want someone to listen.
What could you tell people about finding their tribe? How?
Well, you got to tell yourself the truth. We want to do the make-believe life. So we watch television, we consume a lot. And when you consume a lot, you negate the time you could have alone, really asking yourself hard questions. I'm my first person to chastise myself, and that's not new. We all do that. But I do it in a healthy way. I ask myself, well, why were you in that relationship? Like when I go back to my past when I was in my wonderful 20s and I'm talking to my kids and we're talking about an ex per se. I don't have bad ex stories to tell. That's not the script I wind up every day. I'm just using this as an example. And people are stuck in their script. Like, we've heard many other people say it before me. What is the story you're telling yourself? The first part of changing where you're at is you have to stop telling yourself those stories. Go back, rescue yourself from where you were in those moments when I was young in some stupid relationship. Own my half and say, what was going on with you that you thought that's what you should deserve? It has zero to do with the other person. And once you take ownership, you find your power. You have to go back to those moments that have stunted you and stopped you so you can tell a different story. So you can say, I was young. That's what young people do. And then pull yourself forward. Forgive yourself and pull yourself forward. And once you start doing that, you'll start seeing that there's opportunity. When you have ownership, you have power. You start attracting different people and be open. But start finding ways to be quiet. Unplug. Turn off the TV. Don't always be at everything you're invited to. And enjoy that quiet time and ask yourself the honest questions.
What can people do? You said steps to ownership. What are some steps? I know you said turn off the TV and so forth. What are some steps about ownership, though, that you feel that we need to do?
Ownership in our lives and how we navigate our lives.
Or even in our business. I mean, it could mean many things, taking ownership.
Oh, yeah, because once
true ownership.
Honesty. First, realize you don't dwell on what's negative, what you haven't accomplished, what you haven't obtained, and what you haven't perfected. That's an everyday for the rest of your life journey. Count your wins. That's the thing I've been telling myself. Stand in your wins, because that's where you find the things that you can duplicate that are great about you, that are good about you. And if you can land and stay in the good, like when I was saying to you earlier, always face the sunshine, it's easier to then harness your truth, create the tribe, create the life, at least on paper, at least in an imaginary state, create better for yourself. That's honest and based on really, truly who you are, your best and higher self.
I heard something that you should surround yourself with the 5 people you want to be.
Oh.
And I feel that can be intimidating as somebody that is somewhat introverted. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people.
That's a lot. 5 is a lot. I would try to do 2.
But you should, but you should start surrounding yourself with people that have the same vision as you, have the same ideas as you, that you want to create a bond with, that you really feel that they're moving their lives in the direction that you want to move your life in.
Absolutely. I think for me, and I agree with that, the step after that is I look for people who are 10 steps in front of me. So I believe myself to be a good-hearted human being, and that I focus on, doing the good of my community. And I think I'm a global-hearted person, a global thinker. So I'm usually around those kind of people. So then I look for those who are 10 steps, meaning they're out of the talking stage, they've passed the fear stage or the fear stage that stops them, but they've created momentum. Because I'm at the place where I need momentum. So I watch people that do less than those who talk. I talked in my 20s. I was afraid and regretted in my 30s. I'm in my 50s now. I'm in go mode. I'm in full permission mode. So the women in my woman tribe that I'm attracted to are go-getters. They crush it. They don't make excuses. They're not complainers. They can tell you in one instant, hey, I had a friend, her mother just passed, but at the same time, she's working on her doctorate and her son's graduating Penn State. And she can say this with a grace and an elegance. And I glean from that. I always, I'm around people who I can glean from, so I can take something from, and I'll tell them. I was in the elevator this morning on the way to the podcast group, and this guy jumped in the elevator on floor 5. When I say with the biggest smile and this energy, it was so infectious that I literally motioned at him with my hand and said, I'm going to take some of that today. I needed that. And he was, well, thank you, ma'am. Well, where are you going? And what's on 11? And he was just excited. Mm-hmm. And so in that moment, I snatched some of that goodness. I'm quick to get what I need from someone because I'm open, I'm aware, I'm in the moment, I'm looking at you, and we're engaged for some reason. I quickly open myself. What can this person give me? Tall, short, black, white, cowboy, corporate. somebody out there has my next blessing, my next little bit of gold nuggets for me to make my life better. And I'm also ready to give in return.
Yeah. So how do you give in return?
You know, back to that place of honesty, I'm a great speaker. I'm quick off the tongue. But I have a stored reservoir of love and the work I've done on myself. And my intuition, I've learned to trust. So how I give is I just get flat-footed and I literally center myself physically and I get really quiet. I slow down my breathing and I just try to get in tune to who I'm talking to or who I'm in the space with. And I go, one, am I to learn? Am I to receive? Or am I in this moment to give or just to observe? So then I'm always, I'm giving the best I can. And don't get me wrong, there's times I'm giving to someone who has zero intention of receiving anything I have to say at that moment. They're not looking for someone to help them. And I can tell when I'm pushing. And I'll go, oh, that was not the moment. You know, you're just excited and you're just super, you know, in Superman mode and you just want to go out and, you know, help the world. But Sean, be clear. You have to let people give you permission. Mm-hmm. So I just try to wait for that permission to give them whatever way I can that's authentic in that moment.
So what's one thing that in your life that has just been really hard? That it's just, you know, I have a couple things, you know, that has just been really hard. And, you know, you kind of have, I hate to use the term PTSD, but it is a form of PTSD that, you know, you had this hurdle and you're just like, fuck, how did, you know, how did I get over that? You know?
So what you do, you know, and and I don't want to make it a cliche term. How did you get past the last thing? So count, you know, I'm going to trademark that. Count your wins. I love that. It's what I say, but count your wins. So in me, I'm a Christian. So in the Bible, it talks about your faith and you have to go back in your testimony. And for anyone else, whatever belief system you have, go back. How did you get through the worst thing? It was a breakup, a parent dying. You lost a job and you lost your apartment. You know, you had a roommate move out on you in the middle of the night. You're stuck with rent. You're in a city that you didn't want to be in. I mean, these moments that have gripped your stomach, you couldn't sleep. Drinking, it didn't even help. It seemed like you had no lifeline. How did you make it from that moment? First, you stop, you breathe, you evaluate. It'll make you who you are. Those moments define the rest of your life. And so you have to say, that was good for me. I hated it, but it was good for me. And I call it, sometimes your life will throw up. There are signs going on all the time that you need to quit your job, quit the relationship, quit the hell whatever it is you're doing, quit the path that you're on that you're so passionate about, but we don't heed them. And what'll happen is your life will throw up. Shit will hit the fan. Mm-hmm. Everything quits working. And you're like, what's happening to me? In those moments where you feel like it's happening to you, find out how much did I author? How much did I do that created this moment? Did I pray for it? Did I speak it? Even in doubt, even in hope? I'm here because of me somehow. Don't get me wrong. There's bad people doing bad things. But even in that, it's your life throwing it up. It's the covers flying up in the air, everything going everywhere. And that's a moment for you to stop and say, what's the truth? Yeah, I really didn't like this apartment. I don't know why I moved out here to be with this guy. I don't know why I stayed at this job too long. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I don't know why I was sitting here working at this restaurant. I did it because my cousin owns it. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we stay stuck, but your life will shake you out of it. It'll hurt because the longer you stay in it, the hurt comes later when it tells you it's time to go on. Because inevitably, your soul wants to peace and wants to be happy and it wants to be light. And it'll make it happen. It'll force its way through like a plant through the dirt, right?
Right. So how could somebody push through that? How do you push through that? What kind of advice or what could you tell them how to move past? I know you said, finding the truth, getting grounded and so forth, but
what's a step?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you're a tornado. I know. And you have couches and the Wicked Witch and
you're talking to Dorothy. Yes.
Yeah. Like you have shit coming at you from all different directions and you're just trying to dodge things so you don't get hit in the head and die. because you feel like you're dying.
Don't get me wrong. Like, well, people will say, why do you look so young? I say, I cry when I want to cry. I scream when I want to scream. I laugh a lot, and I lean into the truth. One of the things I would tell you to do today, if you're fortunate enough to have any space, whether it's literally a closet, because I've had to walk into some physical closets at jobs that I thought I was going to fisticuffs with a boss. And we were sitting shoulder to shoulder. I got up, went into a closet, and just cried and said, please, God, don't let me hit this lady today.
I've done that. I was the only woman in the engineering department of the corporation. They put us in the engineering office because they had nowhere to put us.
Right.
And I was in marketing. And I was the only woman, so I went to the bathroom. I just sat on the floor and I just cried.
And that's good to
cried.
do.
And nobody knew I was crying.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission to go, this shit hurts. And that's a part of the truth telling. This hurts. But then get honest. Okay, it hurts because why? And I can only use so many different references, either a job or it's personal, right? So let's take it's personal. And you're in a relationship, whether it's a sibling, it's a spouse, or a partner, however, or child. I'm a parent. And these relationships are thick. And they can all start hitting the fan. And everything that you're collateral damage because you're trying to be the do-gooder in that situation, right? And if you're in a relationship, whether it's business or personal, and you're finding that you feel like you're not being respected, you're not appreciated, you're giving your 100%, and it's just not working. When you get some quiet time, I want you to just get quiet, talk to yourself and say, is this what I want? Am I doing this because I think they need me? I think that, if I leave this job, my boss is really going to suffer. I know the 4 or 5 good people in the department that depend on me. I should stay. But secretly, you've been journaling about doing coding and going to work over in Thailand. So you think you're doing a good for someone. Truth be told, if you are miserable at whatever you're doing day to day, you're not helping anyone. You're killing your soul, and that stuff's infectious. It's infectious. You're not helping anyone by dying. So what you have to do is get quiet and tell the truth. No matter what the relationship is, no matter what it is you're doing, tell the truth. If this is killing you, it is not for you to do, and you profit no one.
I think a lot of it has to do with people are scared.
Absolutely. Fear is the beginning of crime. It's the beginning of a lot of things. And we all are scared. So you're saying, okay, Sean, that sounds good. I've told myself the truth and blah, blah, blah. What's next? If you unplug from all the financial highs that you have, you'd be free to do a lot of things. We are too materialistic. Mm-hmm. You're basing your success, you're basing how good you are, how well you've performed by your things. The apartment you live in, the house you aspire for, the car you drive. And have you ever noticed you're with people who have little and they're happy as,
yeah.
2 little happy little rats in the park.
You can say shit. You can say fuck.
I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it real. I've noticed, not all the pretty people are happy. I
think is that something that just happens when us women, or just in general? It seems like when my ex turned in his late 40s, 50s, he went, the deep end, where, the young girl, the fancy car.
Cliche.
Yeah, very cliche. I went the opposite, where I turned in my sports car for a Subaru Outback. I'm married, and I got a new husband that's 10 years younger than me and hot and wears an army uniform to work. And I live now, instead of the 1,400 square foot home in West Lynn, which is kind of like the nicer part of town.
Right.
I live in Northeast Portland in a 700 square foot townhouse, and I am happy as a clam. I would like a dining room. I'll be honest. I would like a dining room,
right? Because
our dining room is so small. It's a bookshelf.
You have a dining room?
Yes.
I have a blended space in my house.
That's what it is. It's a blended space.
Open concept.
Yes. But it's just funny. I mean, do you feel like women our age, when we just are like, what the hell was the 20s and the 30s and even the 40s? Like, what? I mean, it gets better by decade.
Absolutely.
Every year
you get honest.
It's better. Yeah.
You get painfully honest. And when I say about materialism, don't get me wrong, buy what you want to buy. But if it holds you back from being able to do what you want to do, you're the fool. If you have to get up and go to a job you hate, stay in a relationship because you can't afford the things that are in your life, you have got your priorities messed up. Money can be made a million different ways, but happiness is pretty simple. It's telling the truth and being your truth and being fearless. And it's really hard to be fearless when you have $160,000 of debt on your back or $250,000. Before you buy into
But that seems like shit like that is just normal. It seems like,
it's normal.
For Americans.
I
think maybe for other countries, but since we're in the States, it just feels like that's a normal thing to do. You're supposed to have credit cards. You're supposed to have debt. You're supposed to be paying on your car.
That's what they tell you. And here's the thing. When I say they, who's been telling you that? When we had that financial crash in the 2008. See, I'm from a generation that I call that a crash.
Call that a crash.
Right. My great-grandparents probably wouldn't call that a crash. But that being said, it was a time for reset. And everyone's forgotten. There's places my husband works.
Well, we forget the next day because we have the Facebook. We have just like the other day, people were doing the ban thing on Facebook. You're not a huge Facebook person.
Nah, not at all.
But I am. So on Facebook, they do the little 10 bans I've seen and one I haven't seen. Which one's a lie? And there's anarchy going on in our administration.
Right.
And I'm like, stop. Let's look at what's going on in the bigger picture, because right now I don't really give a fuck about what bans you've seen or not seen.
Right.
I care about what's going on in my world. And the reason I have Facebook is because I have friends all over the world and I want to know how big their kids are getting and
exactly
what they are eating for dinner.
But it's a distraction. Either you're drinking it, sleeping it, or watching it away. And that's back to feeling hopeless. That's back to feeling, you're not a part of a tribe or a group of people or a movement that motivates you to get up in the morning. A tribe and a movement, a tribe and a passion, all those things.
A tribe to me can mean many things. I mean, it
Right.
could be finding your best friend. It could be finding, the ocean. It could be, it could be finding your true self, and you are your tribe. You build.
It starts with you, definitely.
It does start with you.
But in setting your intention. And if I could give one actionary step, what is your intention? The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I was so enveloped in my kids and what's going on with my family and external that I hadn't created or manifested anything. And I was looking at my life going, I'm kind of stagnant. There's nothing moving in my life. There's nothing happening new. And maybe I have some unrealistic high expectation, but I like to see things show up in my life on a regular. So I stopped and said, what is your intention? What do you want? Ask yourself, what do you want? And
do you feel like doing that every day? Like, I've been trying to meditate in the morning before anybody wakes up, because my husband's a sleeper. Like, he can sleep and he's just out. So I've been trying to sneak out of bed earlier, about 10 minutes earlier, sitting there in front. I have like a little space altar kind of thing. And I like to light incense and just sit there and just, listen to some very calming music that has no words whatsoever.
Right.
But do you feel maybe adding like an intention, like today I'm going to kick ass in this meeting that I'm going to have? I mean, do you feel that would be something to add?
I think absolutely. And I have this thing I do with myself is I lean into what I need. And some days it's go hard and it's like, okay, I'm going to work on my podcast today. I worked on my blog. Like Sunday, I was crushing it. Like all my little things. I had my blog. I did my Instagram. I had my podcast up. I was like, woke up on Monday. I didn't have any of that stuff to do. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But then I felt that I needed to garden. Like yesterday, I unplugged. I went outside and it was misty. I had bought plants and I unplugged. And of course, my husband, he had to come find me because I was just must have been too happy out there by myself.
Yep.
But that's what I needed at that moment. It was some quiet, something tactile, put my hands in the dirt. That's, switching mediums.
Yes.
So some days you're going to wake up and your intention is I'm going to make the phone call to make this particular thing happen or put that in motion. But be okay with the days that your intention is, I'm going to eat my favorite thing. Like I go get a macaron. I love pink champagne macarons. And I'm going to go to the waffle window, shout out to the waffle window, and get my 3 Bs, and sit there and have a good cup of black coffee and cross my legs and be excited that I live in the coolest city in the coolest state in America. I love where I live. And I love it because I don't have to be a millionaire. Back to not worrying about having a lot of money and a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I have been able to find ways to be extremely happy and extremely at peace when I wasn't chasing a dollar. It happened really, I was unemployed. And I was sitting at Starbucks in the middle of the day, and I was a single parent for a long time. So I know what it's like to struggle, to be afraid, to feel like every day was an emergency, like the fire alarm was going off every day in my life, trying to make the roof overhead all the time. Yeah. So I'm married now, and so a little of that's off of me, but I was unemployed, and I was sitting at Starbucks, and I was watching people walk by, and I went, this is what I imagine rich people doing. And my little imagination at my job, watching my bosses take vacations, I used to imagine people were rich who could just sit at the cafe. And I said, you know what? They don't have to be rich. They just have to live a lifestyle that's conducive for this type of time. That time is the real currency. And I learned this probably almost 10 years ago. And I started saying, what could I get rid of so I could have more of this? I had a newer car then. I couldn't afford it. I had to give the car back. But I don't even want a new car unless I can cash pay for it. I don't want to be a slave to anything that keeps me at a job or in relationships that don't feed me or feed my soul. So now I'm spoiled. I can work 35 hours a week, which I think should be the model. And I can work from home on Fridays. And I have time. I feel wealthy. I can go have a waffle on a Friday afternoon right next to people who are driving the Porsche Cayenne. And I'm pulling up in my little used car, happy as I can be because I can afford my life. And that has freed me up to make some other decisions. So I would say to you, scale back on worrying about the money right now. If you have to take a roommate, go be the roommate. Move back home. Whatever it is to get closer to being able to do what you like. Bite the bullet. There's no such thing as pride. No one really cares. You think people are going to judge you. They do not care about your money and your business. Truth be told. Get rid of that. Yeah. What are they going to say? They don't care. They can tell you're faking the funk right now. They can tell that you're not happy anyway. This is what they're saying about you now. You know, so-and-so's never happy. They're always drinking too much. Well, they never can pick up the check because they're always broke. Oh, yeah, they're always complaining about their job. Do we have to invite them over? So how about you quit being talked about in that sense and be the person that, hey, they packed up and went home. They're saving money. They have a plan. I'm so glad to hear about them if you want to know the truth. You'd rather have people saying that you're making a choice for life.
So what's the one tip that you can offer about finding your tribe? What's a one tip? I know this is hard for you.
No, this is easy. This is super easy.
Because I just saw you there and I was like, okay, what is she going to say?
No, that's easy. Fall in love with you. I am my number one fan, honey. I like me. I don't want to be anybody else on the worst day, on my brokest day, on any day. I have fallen in love with me. I'm good with me. I know what things that are great about me and the things that are shortcomings. I work on those, but I don't beat myself up with those anymore. And when I'm afraid, I ask for help because I'm trying to get rid of pride and fear. I just asked for help. And in that, I asked for a better group of friends. I actually literally prayed and said, God, I really want people that I can eat from, people that feed me. I don't want to be the big sister all the time. And that was my year of yes. And that year, I just started saying yes. I was in a play that year. I met this really cool sister, and she's now one of my favorite people. And because of that, I have other great sisters in my life. I started doing musical theater. People were calling me, and I didn't have to audition for plays. They were like, I'll hire you right now. And then there was a year of no. And that year, I started saying no to things like if I didn't want to cook dinner, I didn't. If I didn't want to be a part of something, I didn't. Even if I felt like I should do it to make them happy. Yeah. And then that last year was manifestation, where I started writing a vision statement and things started happening. So that would be my advice. And now I'm 52. And if nothing else stripped down, I'm good with me. And that's the biggest gift in the world, is to love and be cool who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. I love you.
I love you.
So how can people get a hold of you?
Ooh,
Before I forget, I'm really good at forgetting about asking this.
I love Instagram.
Because I get so into talking.
I love Instagram. That's my favorite thing. Now, that's my happy medium. So, Chasing50 on Instagram. I have chasing50.com. That's my blog. All these things I'm starting out with, and they're motivational, and they're fun. I'm a grandma that loves Legos. I'm serious about my Lego game, though. And so you're about to see a lot more of that on the gram and on my webpage.
And then you have your podcast.
And Chasing50 on, of course, iTunes and Google. So Chasing50, get here. That's what I say. That's what Chasing50 is about. Get here. Get here and be as cool as me.
I'm chasing 50. I'm getting there.
Here. All right.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you. Find Your Tribe podcast is a conversation with guests addressing all aspects of what makes our businesses and personal lives unique. We will balance traditions with new methods, respecting the past while acknowledging the need to embrace new methods and technologies. Finding Your Tribe podcast uncovers the personalities behind the businesses, the leaders who paved the way, and the essential heart of what makes our tribes run. Please visit me at annieweller.com for more information.